leader. This is Live 5 News.
Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us. I'm Michael Higdon. Tonight, we are tracking the development of Hurricane Milton as it moves through the Gulf toward Florida. First Alert Meteorologist Sine joining us. I mean, Steph, is a massive storm behind us. Are we going to be seeing the impacts of it here in the Low Country?
Just a few impacts, Michael. Thankfully, nothing like Florida. Those folks down to our south, definitely keeping them in our thoughts over the next few days. But really main impacts, maybe some coastal flooding, maybe some beach erosion and surge. We see that a lot with these storms. But let's take a look right now at the big wall. You can see what's going on here with our satellite imagery tonight. What happened earlier, and I even mentioned this in the 7 o'clock hour, we had an eye wall replacement cycle. Things kind of getting restructured as more fuel kind of gets wrapped into Milton this evening. So because of that, weakened a tiny bit. So we had a maximum sustained wind speed earlier of 180. It's back down to 165. It is still a dangerous Category 5 hurricane, really just barreling through the Gulf of Mexico here. And you can see eventually it's going to curve up northward, moving northeast over the next few days, making that landfall still close to the Tampa Bay area. I know there are folks there evacuating currently, a mandatory evacuation order in effect for some of those smaller areas. Down to our south, they say smaller, but they're very heavily populated, actually. You can see the system will move back over warm ocean water into the Atlantic, still pretty far away from the Low Country. And thankfully, our spaghetti plots are really curving the system away from us down to our south. So that is good news for us. However, like I mentioned, still seeing some of those impacts here at home. High surf, coastal flooding, storm surge, some beach erosion, definitely a possibility, some gusty wind as well. But thankfully, we're not in that quadrant of the storm to see a tornado risk. So that risk is really out the door at the moment, and it should stay that way. So some good news there. Some gusty wind still a possibility, 20 to 30 mile per hour winds. We do have a tropical storm watch. We also have a storm surge watch for some of our southern counties. You can see coastal Colleton, also Beaufort. Could see some higher water, around 1 to 3 feet of storm surge in those spots close to the coastline. This could change over the next day or so. It's really going to depend on where exactly the center is once it moves back over water into the Atlantic Ocean. We'll talk more about this, and also some good news on the way. A little bit of a cool down, some fall weather on the way for us as well. We'll get to those details in a few.